This is Coraline, Chapter 7. Somewhere inside her, Coraline could feel a huge sob welling up, and then she stopped it before it came out. She took a deep breath and let it go. She put her hands to touch the space in which she was imprisoned. It was the size of a broom closet, tall enough to stand in or sit in, but not wide or deep enough to lie down. One wall was glass, and it felt cool to the touch. She went around the tiny room a second time, running her hands over every surface that she could reach, feeling for doorknobs or switches or concealed catches. Some kind of way out. She found nothing. A spider scuttled over the back of her hand and she choked back a shriek. But apart from the spider, she was alone in the closet and in the pitch dark. Then her hand touched something that felt for all the world like somebody's cheek and lips, small and cold. And a voice whispered in her ear, "Hush and shush! Say nothing, for the beldam could be listening." Coraline said nothing. She felt a cold hand touch her face, fingers running over it like gentle beats of a moth's wings. Another voice, hesitant and so faint, Coraline wondered if she'd imagined it, said, "Art art thou alive?" "Yes," whispered Coraline. "Poor child," said the first voice. "Who are you?" whispered Coraline. "Names, names, names," said another voice, all far away and lost. "The names are the first thing to go, after the breath has gone." "And the beating of the heart. We keep our memories longer than our names. I still keep pictures in my mind of my governess on some May morning, carrying my hoop and stick, and the morning sun behind her, and all the tulips bobbing in the breeze. But I've forgotten the name of my governess, and of the tulips too." "I don't think tulips have names," said Coraline. "They're just tulips." "Perhaps," said the voice sadly. "But I've always thought that these tulips must have names. They were red and orange, and red, and yellow and orange, like the embers in a nursery fire of a winter's evening. I remember them well." The voice sounded so sad that Coraline put a hand to the place where the voice was coming from, and she found a cold hand and squeezed it tightly. Her eyes were becoming used to the darkness. Now Coraline saw, or imagined that she saw, three shapes, each as faint and pale as the moon in daytime sky. They were the shapes of children about her own size. The cold hand squeezed her hand back. "Thank you," said the voice. "Are you a girl?" asked Coraline. "Or a boy?" There was a pause. "When I was small I wore skirts, and my hair was long and curled," she said, doubtfully. "But now that you ask it, it does seem to me that one day they took my skirts away and gave me breeches and cut my hair." "'Tain't something we have to mind to," said the first of the voices. "A boy, perhaps, then," continued on the hand she was holding. "Yes, I think I was a boy." And it glowed a little more brightly in the darkness in the room behind the mirror. "What happened to you all?" asked Coraline. "How did you come here?" "She left us here," said one of the voices. "She stole our hearts and our souls and took our lives away. And she left us here and just forgot about us in the dark." "You poor things," said Coraline. "How long have you been here?" "So very long time," said a voice. "Aye, time beyond reckoning," said another voice. "I walked through the scullery door," said the voice of the one that might be a boy, "and I found myself back in the parlour. But she was waiting for me. She told me she was my other mamma, but I never saw my true mamma again. Flee, said the first voice, another girl, Coraline fancied. Flee, while there's still air in your lungs, and blood in your veins, and warmth in your heart. Flee while you still have your mind and your soul. I'm not running away, said Coraline. She has my parents. I came to get them back. Ah, but she'll keep you here while the days turn to dust, and the leaves fall, and the years pass, one after the next, like the tick-tick-ticking of a clock. No, said Coraline, she won't. There was silence then in the room behind the mirror. Preopture, said a voice in the darkness. If you could win your mamma and papa back from Beldam, you could also free our souls. Has she taken them? Asked Coraline, shocked. Aye, and hidden them. That's why we could not leave here when we died. She kept us, she fed on us, until now we have nothing left of ourselves, only snakeskins and spider husks. Find our secret hearts, young mistress. And then what will happen if I do? Asked Coraline. The voices said nothing. And what is she going to do to me? She said. The pale figures pulsed faintly. She could imagine that they were nothing more than after-images, like a glow left by a bright light in your eyes after the lights go out. It doth not hurt, whispered the faint voice. She'll take your life, and all you are, and all you carest for, and she will leave you with nothing but mist and fog. She'll take your joy, and then one day you'll awake, and your heart and soul have gone. A husk you'll be, a wisp you'll be, and nothing more than a dream on waking, or a memory of something forgotten. Hollow, whispered the third voice. Hollow, 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 hollow. You must flee, said the voice faintly. I don't think so, said Coraline. I tried running away, and it didn't work. She took my parents. Can you tell me how to get out of this room? If we knew, then we would tell you. Poor things, said Coraline to herself. She sat down. She took off her sweater and rolled it up and put it behind her head as a pillow. She won't keep me in this dark forever, said Coraline. She brought me here to play games. Games and challenges, the cat had said. I'm not much of a challenge here in the dark. She tried to get comfortable, twisting and bending herself to fit to the cramped space behind the mirror. Her stomach rumbled. She ate her last apple, taking tiny bites, making it last as long as she could. When she finished, she was still hungry. An idea struck her, and she whimpered. When she comes and let me out, why don't you three come with me? Wish that we could, they sighed to her, and they're barely their voices. But she has our hearts in keeping. Now we belong to the dark and empty places. The light would shrivel us and burn. Oh, said Coraline. She closed her eyes, which made the darkness even darker, and rested her head on a rolled-up sweater, and she went to sleep. And she fell asleep. As she fell asleep, she thought she felt a ghost kiss her cheek tenderly, and a small voice whisper into her ear, a voice so faint that it was barely there at all, a gentle, wispy nothing of a voice, so hushed that Coraline could almost believe she was imagining it. Look through the stone, it said to her, and then she slept. This was chapter 7 of Coraline. Getting good, huh?